Hello students, welcome to AIMS India online classes. This is a chemistry session. Here we are discussing about the chapter chemical bonding. In this session, let us see the introduction part of this chapter, chemical bonding. By the late 19th century and early 20th century, scientists knew about three types of forces. They came to know about three types of forces. They found those as gravitational force, magnetic force, and electrostatic force of attraction. They also knew about the existence of electrons and protons inside the atom. So by the starting of this 20th century, scientists came to know about the subatomic particles, which we call as electrons and protons. Of course, till they have to find neutrons there, they came to know about the existence of these two kinds of particles like electrons and protons inside the atom. Apart from these forces of attractions, they know about these fundamental particles also. So it was believed that electrostatic forces were the cause of attraction between atoms in a molecule. So they believed that these atoms are being together in the formation of molecules just because of electrostatic force of attractions between them. When two atoms come sufficiently close to each other, the electrons of each atom experience the electrostatic force of attraction of the nucleus of the other atom, and hence those atoms will be together in the formation of a molecule. So what happens when two atoms come to close each other to a sufficient distance? There, the attraction between the electrons of an atom and the nucleus of the other atom will be greater, and hence those two atoms will be together in the formation of molecule. In that way, these electrostatic force of attractions are the responsible for the formation of molecules by the atoms. That was believed at the starting of 19th century and 20th century. But electrons which are negatively charged and repel each other, and the positively charged nuclei also repel each other. See here, suppose these two are the atoms which are approaching each other. When these two atoms approach each other, there are different kinds of electrostatic forces are acting on these. We know the electrons present in the last shell of this atom will be having negative charge. These negative charged particles, and here also there will be electrons for this atom also, and we know at the center part of the atom there will be nucleus with protons which will be having positive charge. So here positive charge, and for this atom also positive charge, whereas these electrons are having negative charge. Now when these two atoms approach each other at a sufficient distance, the electrons of this atom will be attracted by the nucleus of another atom. In the same way, the electrons of this another atom will be attracted by the nucleus of the first atom. Okay, because of these forces of attractions, atoms come in close to each other and form molecules. The strength of attraction or repulsion will decide the bond formation. If you observe, at the same time of these attractions, there occur certain repulsions also. That is because of this. Here, this nucleus of this atom is having positive charge, and the nucleus of another atom also is having positive charge. So when these two atoms approach each other, they occur certain repulsion between these two nuclei, and even between the electron cloud also. The electrons present in the outermost shell of this atom will be having negative charge. Here also the electron cloud will be having negative charge. Between these two, repulsion occurs. So the distance where the attractions are being more than the repulsions, at the distance bond will be formed. Okay, if the attraction is more than the repulsion, then atoms will combine and forms molecules there. So if these attractions between the electrons and the nucleus of another atom are greater than the repulsions between these same charged particles, then those two atoms combine each other and form a molecule. If the repulsions are greater than the attractions, then those atoms, they do not combine, they won't form molecules. So the formation of a molecule between two atoms will be dependent upon these electrostatic forces. So if the attractive forces are greater than repulsive forces, then those two atoms combine and they form molecule. If the repulsive forces are greater than the attractive forces, then those two atoms, they do not combine for forming a molecule. Okay. Thus, the strength of the attraction and repulsion will decide the bond formation. The nucleus and the electrons in the inner shell remain unaffected when atoms come close to each other. Yes, the nucleus and the inner core electrons, these won't be affected by the bond formation. They won't participate in the bond formation. Means they won't involve in the bond formation with the other atoms. Only the electrons present in the last shell, which we call as valence electrons. The valence electrons of an atom are responsible for the bond formation. Okay, let us see here. But the electrons in the outermost shell of an atom get affected. The electrons present in the outermost shell of an atom are called valence electrons. These valence electrons will be affected by the bond formation. Because of these valence electrons only, some atoms, they participate in the bond formation. Electrons in the valence shell are responsible for the formation of bonds between the atoms. So the electrons present in the inner shells, which we call as core electrons, they are not at all affected by these bond formations or attractions between the atoms. Only the electrons present in the outermost shell, which we call as valence electrons, these are responsible for the bond formation between the atoms. These electrons only participate in the bond formation. Okay. Periodic classification and arrangement of elements in the periodic table according to the electronic configuration gave a new thought about chemical bonding. So after the development of the modern periodic table and after understanding the arrangement of elements in the periodic table according to their electronic configurations, it has given a clear thought about the chemical bond formation. Why elements are participating in the bond formation, how they are participating, after the bond formation, how they are getting the stability. These all points are understood clearly. The discovery of the noble gases and the understanding of their electronic configurations helped us in explaining the formation of chemical bonds among the atoms of the elements. So the discovery of noble gases, later on they have discovered noble gases and they have done observations on those elements of these noble gases, why they are being stable. So they have studied the electronic configurations of the atoms of these noble gases. So this helped in explaining the formation of chemical bonds between the atoms of different elements. Why some elements are being participating in the bond formation and why some are not participating. These all they were able to explain by studying the electronic configurations of these noble gases. Noble gases which belong to zero group are typical gases with almost negligible chemical reactivity when compared to other elements. Yes, in the modern periodic table we have seen these noble gases are placed at extremely right side of the periodic table. That is say 18th column or 8th A group, which is also called as zero group. So these elements we can say as typical elements, ideal elements, because they are almost ideally they behave. They do not participate in any chemical reactions. So we can say they are with almost negligible chemical reactivity when compared to atoms of other elements. They undergo a few or no chemical changes. Generally, these noble gases, they do not participate in the chemical reactions. They are more stable and do not form molecules by allowing their atoms to combine among themselves or with the atoms of other elements. Yes, that is why they are called noble gases or ideal gases. So these elements, they do not allow their atoms to combine themselves or with the atoms of other elements, so that they do not form any molecules. They are being almost ideal. Their chemical reactivity we can say is almost zero. Okay. Let us find the reason for this. Why the atoms of these zero group elements or 8th group elements are being ideal or noble. Let us consider the 8th group elements of the periodic table with their electronic configuration. General electron configuration, which is written here. See, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. These are 0 group or 8th group elements in the modern periodic table, as we know. So if we observe once the electronic configurations of these elements, see, for helium it is being 2, for neon it is 2,8, for argon in the last shell there are 8 electrons, for krypton 8 electrons, for xenon also last there are 8 electrons, and even for radon also there will be 8 electrons in its outermost shell. So it is clear that all the noble gases have 8 electrons in their outermost shell, of course, except helium, because helium is with only one shell which is completely filled already with 2 electrons. Except that remaining all noble gases were observed with 8 electrons in their outermost shell. Okay. Kozell and Lewis approach to chemical bonding. So let us see how these scientists, they have explained the chemical bond formation. In order to explain the formation of chemical bond in terms of electrons, a number of attempts were made. Okay, for the explanation of chemical bond formation in terms of electrons, so many assumptions and attempts were made. But it was only in 1916 when Kozell and Lewis succeeded independently in giving a satisfactory explanation. They were the first to provide some logical explanation about the formation of chemical bonding. They have explained with a logical explanation. They have given the clarity how atoms are combining in the bond formation, how molecules are formed from the atoms. They have explained this with certain theories. Okay, they were the first to provide some logical explanation of valence, which was based on the inertness of the noble gases. So by studying the electronic configurations of noble gases, they have given the reactivity nature of why the elements are being participating in the bond formation, and they explained about the valence also. So with the explanation of valency, they have given explanation about chemical bonding, valence and valence electrons. So based upon these, they have given clarity about chemical bonding nature of elements. Lewis pictured the atom in terms of a positively charged kernel and the other shell that could accommodate a maximum of 8 electrons. So what he considered? He considered the complete atom except that outermost shell as one kernel, and outermost shell which can accommodate maximum of 8 electrons. So for any atom, the outermost shell can accommodate a maximum of 8 electrons, even though its accommodation capacity is greater than that. All the atoms, they are having maximum of 8 electrons in their outermost shell. The elements with 8 electrons in the outermost shell, they are being more stable. Those elements were called as noble gases. Thus, the elements which are not having 8 electrons in the outermost shell, they are being unstable. So because of their instability, they are trying to become stable by attaining 8 electrons in their outermost shell. That is the reason for the formation of chemical bonds. Okay, that was pictorially explained by Lewis with his Lewis dot structures. He further assumed that these 8 electrons in the outermost shell occupy the corners of a cube which surround the kernel. Kernel in the sense the nucleus and the inner shells all together he assumed as kernel, and the outer shell electrons which can accommodate of maximum 8 electrons. So these 8 electrons present in the valence shell occupy the corners of a cube which is around the kernel. Thus, the single outer shell electron of sodium would occupy only one corner of the cube because it has only one electron in its outermost shell. So it occupies one of the corners in a cube around its kernel. While in the case of a noble gas, we know noble gases, they have 8 electrons in the outermost shell. So in the case of noble gases, the 8 corners would be occupied by 8 electrons. This octet of electrons represents a particularly stable electronic arrangement. So if all the corners of a cube in the outermost valence shell occupied by 8 electrons, that represents the stability of that atom. If it has any corners vacant, that atom will be unstable. So that element will try to become stable by fulfilling its all the corners in its outermost shell. Okay. Lewis postulated that atoms achieve the stable octet when they are linked by chemical bonds. So as we told, if an atom, if it is having less number of electrons than 8 in its outermost shell, that atom will try to become stable by any means, either by gaining or losing or sharing electrons with other atoms that will get 8 electrons in its outermost shell. Thus, it creates certain relation with other atoms which we call as chemical bonding. In that way, atoms will achieve the stable octet by linking with other atoms by chemical bonds. In case of sodium and chlorine, let us take a simple example here. In case of sodium and chlorine, this can happen by transfer of electrons from sodium to chlorine. How many? 1 electron, because sodium is having only 1 electron in its valence shell. Whereas if you observe chlorine, we know its atomic number is 17, configuration is 2, 8, 7, means there are 7 electrons in its valence shell. It needs one more electron to become stable. So sodium is ready to lose 1 electron so that it becomes stable. Now, in case of sodium and chlorine, the bond formation is happened by transfer of 1 electron from sodium to chlorine, thereby giving the Na plus and Cl minus ions, and hence between these attraction occurs which we call as chemical bond. Okay. Another way, in the case of other molecules like chlorine, hydrogen, fluorine molecules, etc., the bond is formed by the sharing of a pair of electrons between the atoms. So in the earlier case, we have seen the bond is formed by transfer of electron. But in the case of certain molecules like chlorine, hydrogen, fluorine, the chemical bond is formed between the atoms just by sharing of a pair of electrons between them. So in this process, each atom attains a stable outer octet electronic configuration. Okay. By either by transfer of electrons or by sharing of electrons, atoms will attain 8 electrons in the outermost shell, which we call as octet. Okay. Now let us say about Lewis symbols, which gives a clarity about the stability of the atom and how do they participate in the bonding. In the formation of a molecule, only outer shell electrons take part in the chemical combination, and they are known as valence electrons. So as we said, the electrons present in the inner shells, they do not participate in the bond formation. Only the electrons present in the outermost shell, which we call as valence electrons, these only take part in chemical combinations. These electrons are called valence electrons. The inner shell electrons are well protected and are generally not involved in the combination process. They do not participate in the chemical combinations. They are being idle. Only electrons in the outer shell only will participate in the bond formation. These electrons are called valence electrons. Lewis introduced simple notations to represent valence electrons in an atom. These notations are called as Lewis symbols or Lewis dot structures. The valence electrons in the atom of an element are depicted in a short form by Lewis symbol or electron dot structure. We represent the nucleus and the inner shell electrons of the atom by the symbol of that element, and the electrons present in the outermost shell are represented by the dots or crosses around that symbol of that element. Let us understand these Lewis dot structures by writing the Lewis dot structures of argon and sodium. Okay, well, let us try to write the Lewis dot structures for these two atoms, argon and sodium, so we can understand what is the information given from these Lewis dot structures, how they help us in understanding the chemical bonding. Okay, first let us see the Lewis dot structure of argon. Let us start with argon. Its atom has 8 valence electrons, isn't it? Argon atomic number we know as it is 18, and its configuration will be 2, 8, 8. There are 8 electrons in its outermost shell, and hence it is being stable element and it is called noble gas. Okay, first we have to write the symbol of the element argon. What is the symbol of argon? It is Ar. So symbol is written first. Now place the valence electrons around the symbol. How many valence electrons are there? 8 valence electrons. So these valence electrons will be represented as dots or crosses around the symbol of that element. So put 2 dots at a time in each of the 4 sides of the symbol of the element till all are used up. So how many electrons are there in the valence shell for argon? There are 8 electrons. So let us try to write 2 at once. So at 4 sides of that argon. So we get the Lewis dot structure of argon as this. See, first symbol of argon is written, and the number of valence electrons of argon are represented as dots around the symbol, 2 at one side. Total 8 electrons are represented. Okay, this is a Lewis dot structure of argon. Okay, next let us see the Lewis dot structure writing of sodium. The number of valence electron in sodium is 1, isn't it? Because we know the atomic number of sodium as 11. Its configuration will be 2, 8, 1. So there is only 1 electron in its valence shell. Now first we have to write the symbol of sodium, which is known as Na, because its symbol is derived from its Latin name natrium, so it is Na. We can also use cross mark or dot mark to represent the electrons around the symbol of the sodium. Thus the Lewis dot structure for sodium atom is therefore this. First sodium symbol is written, around that its valence electrons are represented either as dots or crosses. As it has only 1 electron, it is represented as 1 dot. Okay. Now the Lewis dot structures of the atoms of noble gases, let us see here. We know noble gases are helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. If we observe once their Lewis dot structures, except helium, remaining all elements they have 8 electrons in their valence shells. See here, for these all neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon, they are having 8 electrons. Except helium, only helium is having 2 electrons in its outermost shell. So these elements are being stable with this 8 electron configuration in their valence shell. So by writing the Lewis dot structures of remaining elements, we can understand whether that element is being stable or unstable. Okay. Now let us see the significance of Lewis symbols. The number of dots around the symbol represents number of valence electrons. Yes, isn't it? Valence electrons means the electrons present in the last shell of that atom are represented by the dots or crosses around the symbol. This number of valence electrons help to calculate the common or group valence of that element. Generally, the group valence or valence of the element is generally either equal to the number of dots in the Lewis symbol or 8 minus the number of dots or valence electrons. For example, if you see, we have seen here sodium symbol. Sodium Lewis dot structure is this. Now, to say its valency, it is given by the number of dots around the symbol of sodium in Lewis dot structure gives its valency. What will the valency of sodium now? It is just 1 because it has only one valence electron. And for the elements with 4 or greater than 4 electrons in its valence shell, valency will be given by the formula 8 minus valence electrons gives its valency. For example, if you see any element like fluorine, what will the Lewis dot structure for fluorine? We know atomic number of fluorine is 9 and its configuration is 2, 7. In the outermost shell, fluorine is having 7 electrons, isn't it? Now, these 7 dots represents its valence electrons. Now, the valency of sodium can be calculated by taking the formula 8 minus its number of valence electrons. So, it gives valency of fluorine as 1. So, in this way, the chemical reactivity of the element can be known from its Lewis dot structure, and at the same time its valency or group valency also can be known. Okay, for some elements the valency will be equal to number of valence electrons or the number of dots around the symbol, and for some elements the valency is given by 8 minus number of valence electrons. Okay, that's about Lewis dot structures or Lewis or symbols. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our YouTube channel AIMS Today and visit our website aimstoday.in for latest updates and recorded videos.